Hello, this is Satori, and I'm back with another video. Today I'll be doing a little bit of ranting, and welcome to Premium Debunked. So, over the last, I don't know, half a year, maybe even longer, I've been really annoyed by people that spread a lot of misconception about Premium. And while it is true that the format is hard, it has a lot of cards that are pretty strong and do a lot, the thing is, the format is more accessible than people imagine. I really want to stress it that new players are welcome to premium format and welcome to try it, and that the format is all, as much as it's enjoyable on a casual level, it is very learnable at a competitive level as well. And so these are some key points that I have written down. I might talk about something different that's not from here, but that's like more for me. But first thing to address, the loops. So one of the things that I always hear, premium format, oh my god, so many degenerate loops, so many decks that will kill you from 0 to 6 after setting up some broken combo. Well, it just happens that some of those combos, well, are either hit or have counters or were not even a problem to begin with. There is still some loops in the game that are just either not good or too slow or anything else. So let's say one of the loops that were really good was Fenrir Taro deck. Taro is banned, doesn't exist, move on. Lane Master Soen, the stand trigger shenanigans, drive checking into a stand, restanding your token, doing even more checks. Now stands are errated. If you have a rear guard that checks triggers, well, it has drive checks, and it has been stood by a stand trigger, they lose the ability to drive check. Done. Valkyrian, same case. Decks that kill you with 1 damage or very little setup just by breathing air. Neodaya, banned. Daimonos, banned. And I think what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these degenerate things are either taken care of, or there's a lot of ways to play around the best meta decks. While obviously, just because these cards are banned, doesn't mean that the top meta decks aren't very good in tier 1 anyway, that we have right now. They're still extremely good, but there's more ways to play around them, more ways to plan around them, and in general, the format is pretty healthy. That might change, that might not change, but the thing is, in Premium, there's pretty much always a way to do something about a meta deck. The card pool is larger, that means you have more chances to build your deck towards the meta. And you have a very good meta read. A lot of people are going to bring that deck. You can build your deck to counter it. Whilst in V Premium and Standard, the card pool is a lot more limited, and most of the time you're just playing your deck rather than trying to counter your opponent's deck. Skills specific to Premium, fundamentals, things like damage mapping, damage denying, or people like don't want to get into Premium because they think they need to know every card that has come out ever. So to address one by one, damage mapping and damage denying for that matter are 2 skills that actually are not premium just for Premium. You can use these in Standard, you can use these in V Premium. Yes, in those formats, a lot of the time it's just swinging face and trying to kill your opponent as fast as possible is the correct play, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it is always the correct play, especially something like V Premium, knowing if you want to give your opponent the damage on turn 2 for things like Column Bard, is you can apply the same logic of 1 counterblast for Column Bard for Grand Blue, both in V Premium and Premium. It's not something very special. Damage mapping is understanding how much damage you can do at any given situation. Is like, okay, if I'm damage denying, well then, am I damage denying because I think I don't want to give my opponent damage because they will use it to do something bad, or am I damage denying because there's a specific damage mapping in my deck? Let's say this is very applicable to Dimensional Police. Well, if Dimensional Police is swinging every turn for 3 or 4 critical, well, there's not really a point of giving your opponent more than 3-2 damage. If they guard your Vanguard, you don't swing with their rears. because, well, they take an extra damage, they don't care. They die from a Vanguard lethal swing anyway, and they get an extra damage to work with to kill you back. So, like, let's say a Dimensional Police player will swing at 3-4 damage. If your opponent guards it, they don't swing with the rears because there's no point. Their win condition is to swing with the Vanguard, and they'll do it again next turn. And by doing that, they're also damage choking you. So, again, this is something you can apply to V Premium and Overdress, maybe at more limited capacities, but you can always think, well, let's say I'm holding back this turn, I want to save my resources. Maybe, yeah, let's say for like Overdress. Maybe this turn I don't have a Persona right. That means my turn is going to be weaker. And I have these combo pieces in my hand that if I call down this turn, my opponent will be incentivized to swing at them, and maybe I can't protect them. So what you need to realize is, yeah, damage mapping. If I hold back this turn and leave my opponent on lower damage, can I, on my stronger turn, let's see, I drive check and do a Persona, use the Persona right, and call down the combo pieces to have a strong turn, will I be able to recoup that lost tempo? So again, this is something that is applicable to even Overdress. So these things are very helpful to learn for any format. Knowing the whole card pool. If you look at majority of the decks that top Premium, they use a lot of V Premium cards. A lot of decks are V Premium plus decks. You don't need to know that many G cards. You can also look at the topping deck lists and see what G decks they are using, and you won't need to dig through the whole card pool yourself. And another thing is, use the goddamn deck log. We didn't have access to this for ages, and now it's available. It's easier than ever to open up deck log and to just go through all of the card pool. It's not that hard. And maybe you're looking specifically for a grade 1, for a grade 2, and it's easier than ever to look at what cards you might need. So again, you don't need to know the whole card pool. Just check, depending on what you need, check the topping deck lists, and you'll find out what of the older cards you might want to run. And I'll skip this for now, and to piggyback from the knowing the whole card pool is, people also tell me there is a lack of resources. Oh, I don't know where to find deck lists. I don't know how to build a deck. Well, let's go through a bunch of YouTube channels that have premium information. VCC does top deck recap. That's applicable to all formats, but there's at the end section, there's a lot of premium deck lists. TIE Fighter, Outer Orange does some premium content. Astro Susano does both Genesis and OTT deck lists. Solemn Vanguard, Living Proof for Spike Brothers needs. Yellow Card, Vanguard does some premium content. MCC Games, Vancall 40. Well, I'd say this is not the best quality content. There's a lot of cool ideas, just checking through the deck list, maybe even if they're not the best, but you can see like, oh, this is a cool deck list, this is a cool idea, and I can improve on this deck list. They even have some fight videos. Obviously, if you ever heard anything, there's a ton of misplays most of the time, but these are playtesting videos, and people do mistakes in playtesting. Anyone does mistakes while playtesting, so it's quite natural. The Derek Dow does some meta-analysis stuff, so also, well, applicable to any format, but this is a player that knows a lot about premium as well. Different Fight has a lot of, obviously, DP information. He just released almost an hour-long DP video that explains a lot, and why Different Fight was at the very end here is, if you don't know where to find a particular deck list, or you want to find a community for a specific clan, and you don't know where to start, Different Fight is probably one of the biggest people in English side of Vanguard. Join his Discord, in the Vanguard channel, in the general channel, ask around people for what you're looking. There's a big chance that people will either know, will either answer you, or they will direct you to people that can answer your questions. So again, join Discord communities, there's some Facebook communities as well. be on Twitter. A lot of Vanguard people are on Twitter. And to shout out one person is Fuzzy Paradox. They made a lot of graphs for all the official BCF events that we had. Even will include deck lists, not all the time. Here we go, there's like no deck list, but some will have deck codes for deck log, and you can check these out. And another secret is a lot of people follow Fizzy Paradox followers. Go through here. You will probably see a lot of people that play Vanguard and their accounts, and some people might have premium information sharing their decklist ideas and stuff. Here we go. You might like Ryan Kai. Ryan Kai is another person that has a lot of Vanguard content on their Twitter. So use Twitter, use YouTube. There's a lot of content out there. Just look for the information. If you can't find anything, join Discord. If you don't know what Discord to join, start from different fight, and you'll probably get where you need to be eventually. So, and the information is there. You just need to look for it, and I think there's quite a lot of it. Not everything is always up to date, but like let's open up like a 2-month-old video of Nova Grappler Merciless Dragon combos. During those 2 months, probably nothing new came out, and this video probably still holds up. Premium Overlord, again, probably the same. 2 months passed, that's still a perfectly up-to-date video. So when you see older videos, premium support comes out slower. Even though every Overjust set is premium support as well, Overjust sets are mostly not strong enough yet to be for many cards to be included in premium decks. So those deck lists usually don't change a lot. So don't be afraid of checking out older videos as well. So then the price. A lot of people say it's expensive, and the entry point is it really is, depending on what deck you want to play. It probably you're starting off from like 200 to 300 euros. A big tip is to look at Facebook groups, Facebook trading groups, Discord groups, ask around people. Most of the time it will be cheaper to buy a full deck and maybe haggle the price a little bit. Someone's maybe just trying to offload their deck, and they'll be selling it for most likely cheaper than it is market price to buy all those cards separately. And always ask around people for some pieces. Keep in mind, for premium, especially for the G zone, you don't need playsets of everything. Sometimes you can get away with playing less, like 2 copies, 3 copies. Some cards are completely optional, and if you want to start playing on a budget, you can skip on the optional cards that you will not use often, and you can get them later if you like the format. And another deceiving number is that 200-300 might be a lot compared to like probably a standard deck like cost like 100. But like there's a lot of expensive promos and shit these days. Like 100 is sometimes 100 is probably for the cheaper decks. But the thing is, you pay 100, new support wave comes out, you're probably paying 50 euros because there's more power creep because they're releasing cards that you want to buy. And if you have multiple decks, this adds up a lot. 50 plus like another 50, you have more decks, and then every 2-3 months you're buying new cards. While in premium you pay the 200-300 euros, you're adding like 15 euros for a year or 2 years worth of cards for most of the time. Premium decks require less upkeep than standard decks, or the decks last longer than like, okay, you pay the 100 euros, maybe this deck is just not playable anymore in next set, and you need to buy another 100 euro deck from scratch. So while I think it is expensive, I think it's not as expensive as people might imagine. I think the upkeep cost of a premium deck is less than standard, and you need to take that into account. And probably the last thing that I want to address is enjoy the format casually. Premium is extremely fun at tier 2 and below. When you're not playing the best decks, there's so many fun ideas you can do in premium that are extremely fun to play, most of the time not expensive, and it's just lots of fun. Play casually. You don't need to play the best decks in your locals, well, depending on how competitive your locals are, but you can bring worse decks to locals. Experiment. Take the deck that people said is bad, try to make it playable. And I think a lot of deck building is also really fun in Premium compared to V Premium and Standard, where decks pretty much build themselves. So don't be afraid to take your V deck, slap in a G card, slap in a couple extra deck cards, and start playing Premium. It's, well, a lot of fun. So those are the main points. I don't know if I missed anything. Let's see. I have quite a lot of tabs open. No, I think I went through most of the things. So this was pretty rambly, but I hope it was somewhat informative. I want to end it off with saying that Premium is not for everyone, and if you don't like it, it is absolutely fine. The point of this video was to say that if you want to start playing the format, want to try it out, it is more accessible than a lot of people will tell you, and you shouldn't be afraid of the format. It is a difficult format, but it is very fun to play casually, and it's really rewarding if you want to invest the time to become really good at it. And at the end of the day, card games are a hobby and you should be having fun. So if you like Premium, give it a try. If you don't like it, it's completely fine. So that was for today's ramble. Thanks for listening. This was Satori, and till next time.